Right, yes, we're recording. A new phone, so bear with me. I know what it sounds like on playback, but I don't know what it's going to come out like on YouTube. So if the sound is bad in any way, do let me know, and I will try and figure out how to improve it. So this phone, once again, it took 6 days from nothing. Using imagination and impressing a feeling in oneself. How it works, I do not know. It's no good asking me anything. What do I mean by don't ask me anything because me does not know? Me is the magnetic and the electrical that works in some sort of biological, chemical balance or imbalance, depending on how you feel about anything and what perspective you're coming from. Okay, you can look at loads of external things. The one I would look at would be the sun, and only take one thing from that, and that is that the sun keeps moving. It doesn't stay in one spot. Imagine if it did, what it would do. It would hardly be a life giver. It would actually start to cause a burning, and it would actually become a bringer of death, not a bringer of life. But such is this realm. And what is this realm? If you want to look at it from one point of view, actually from several points of view now, that Archaix channel is doing podcasts with guests. I had a wonderful guest on there. I couldn't get the thing to sort of come through to make a note of who the guest was, but it's one of the most recent ones. Now his guest has come through this in a shamanic way, partly through mushrooms, partly through just doing meditation. Jason, on the other hand, has gone into this in a completely different way, but the common factor, no matter what perspective you're coming at this, because remember, we all have different gifts and different talents. Some of you are better at art, some of you are better at paintings and so on. But the common denominator is immersing yourself into that interest that you then follow through. And in Jason's case, as he said, the sun goes down, the sun comes up, and he's still making notes from books. He is denying that external realm. We are basically magnetic. Now, if you want to understand about magnetics, then go to Theoria Apophasis channel. And the one thing you can take out of that, the simplest part of it, is the magnet, everything is drawn and sticks to the outside. So if you are looking at the external realm, remember where the attention goes, the energy flows, it will draw it towards you. So if you are looking at number sequences, guess what? You're going to keep seeing number sequences everywhere you look. You won't actually have to actively look for them. You've already put that out into the matrix, the cosmic, whatever you want to call it, the universe, and it will just work like the subconscious, and it will keep giving it to you. Because how many of these conspiracy theories have ever found the definitive answer? And you cannot find the definitive in this realm. It is impossible. Let me explain this. Now, use your imagination here. I want you to picture a tree in front of you. Now, you're looking at that tree, and for whatever reason, the growth of that tree is going over to the left, which is probably, as you're looking at the screen, going over to your right. See, straight away. It's a fact. We're using I'm going to have to use imagination because I can't be bothered to draw it if the truth be known. But so in your minds, you're picturing this tree, and the growth has a predominance of growth onto the left for whatever reason. And it's a fact that that tree has more growth on the left when you fix and look at it from that one perspective. But if you were to go 180 degrees and look at the tree from the other side, you'll now find the fact is that has more growth on the right. So if we use the cardinal points, so we say the first view is from the east, the second view is from the west. Now, if you move round a quarter turn to where that growth is and look at the tree, we call that south. That will have a very different perspective, and you'll say, there's nothing wrong with this tree, it's perfectly balanced. But if you go round to the north side, that you might say, well, it's not doing very well. They're all truths from different perspectives. It is all about fluidity of thought, because there is nothing you can bring into this realm. You cannot bring the definition of a horse, or to use a Rudolf Steiner analogy, draw the triangle. You cannot draw the triangle. You can draw a triangle. I can't define everything in a drawing. I can give you a tree, a horse, a car, but I can't draw you the of any of them any more than anybody else can, because as soon as you try and bring it into a physical form, it can only take one form. I was reminded well, I was asked to speak about the meek shall inherit the earth. What does it mean? It's something that has been covered before. But me, like I say, don't ask me, I don't know anything. The me part, I'll come back to that. That needs explaining. But the meek. Remember on previous videos I said consider that you're looking into a mirror and seeing a reflection. So on one side you have one perspective, on the other side you have a reflection of it. But don't forget about the middle, the mirror, the middle part. So let's have a look. The word meek. Try and get this so you can see it. So on the one side you have the ME, the magnetic and the electrical, the me. On the other side is a reflection. It's not a true reflection of the ME, but it is a reflection. But if this is me and you reverse this, so it becomes KE, it becomes the key. So the meek is the me key. And of course, seek and ye shall find. Just like a magnet, things will stick to the outside in this physical realm. Notice also these are basically a binary, or parts of a 0 and 1 binary code. It's symbolically suggested. So the S is made up of parts of the 0 or the whole. The other characters or letters that have the straight lines, so that basically is your spine. That is your eye. Now with the E, the energy, you can see straight away with this that the shortest path is the middle path. And with the K, you can go off on one of two directions from it. But that is your key, your way out being expressed in letters. So the meek shall inherit the earth. Listen very carefully. And don't forget, the spell can change things. How you spell can change the sound. So the me key shall inhear it, shall inherit. Now the hearing is not through physical sight, it is not through physical hearing. It is internally feeling. When you deny what the sensible world is showing you with the 5 senses, which have a very limited range, and you turn those senses inward and you use your intuition and your instinct, so now you've got a 7 and a 5, which is a 12. which you can draw on. This is the second attempt at this video because I wasn't happy with the first one. So let's go through what have we got here. Yes, Adrienne Elise channel gave this quote, and it's a very good one. Life lives life. And the opposite of that, of course, is fear feeds fear. Now you want to be on that, think of that yin and yang symbol. Not everything is black and white, but it may appear to be so. But what you're actually looking for is that very thin line, which is actually hidden by the black. And you weave your way through this realm. And it's up to you whether you want to live life or whether you want to feed fear. Depends what you look at and how you feel about it and what perspective. I would suggest that you keep your thoughts fluid and you don't fix so they become your crucifix. And if I've just upset and offended a load of Christians, well, tough shit. It's a process of elimination after all. And how you feel about what is said, that's down to you. I can't do anything about that. This is a YouTube channel. But this is just an expression of a channel of something else, which is, shall we call it, the art spirit. The art spirit permeates through everything. Everything that is created, there is an art spirit in it. There is an art to cooking, for example. So the difference in taste between homemade food and something you buy out of a supermarket. One is mass produced, the other one is made with love. Guess which one will taste better to you. Likewise in all forms of art. Now I did it might have been for about 10 minutes earlier today. My Path as a Pagan channel. Angela did a fantastic picture of a wolf, which she's put on her community pages. Now I sat and looked at that picture for 10 minutes. Now she's basically channeled and put energy into that she has created. Now that art spirit is partly, that feeling is partly permeated into that creation. So it will start to unfold. And with the mind's eye, you will start to see and feel, or hopefully you will start to see and feel, and you will see animation come out of what seems to be a static picture. And guess what? It works with photographs as well. If you think about the old terminology for a photograph, is called a likeness. And when you think about the words we use, you capture an image in that photograph. But here's the wonderful thing about that photograph that is, with some of that energy that is captured, it is not confined to the time and location where that photograph was taken. It is outside of time, so it is possible to read the current energy, if it's a person, in that photograph. That photograph might have been taken 30 years ago, but that energy is still contained within it. And the mind's eye, the spiritual essence, can find it. So, going back to something else I was going to talk about on this video, the difference between me, I, and I am. Now, if you want to understand this, the best place I would suggest to start is Rudolf Steiner and the Threefold Man. Familiarise yourself with that. See, as Ken Theoria Apophasis channel has said, that thing you look at in the mirror is not you. If you ask me, the conclusions that I have come to is either I'm lucid dreaming and this seems very real and I can't get out of this dream, or I've done some sort of time jump to a very similar reality that is not quite the same as it was, or it's something else, but me doesn't know. I am effectively number 4 in this vessel. So before Aries the 1st or March the 21st, no idea. If we use the song Hotel California, it says in the lyrics in that song, we are all prisoners here of our own device. Well, this avatar, this physical being that remains in this realm, because that's what happens when a human vessel is expired and the spirit, the eternal spirit, leaves it, it remains here because it cannot go anywhere else. It is an object that is very much a part of this realm. So what is this realm? Well, again, one way of looking at this is Archaix channel. Now I've tested this out on a micro version with something I am more familiar with, which is the composer Anton Bruckner, 1824 to 1896. So the midway point is 1859. He did not compose any music whatsoever in that year, or 1 year either side of that, 1858 or 1860. No compositions. That's the isometric of his life. There are other isometrics which I have broken down. So if we take his symphonic cycle, which is over a 33-year period, 11 symphonies, and that same isometric pattern happens, which is roughly about 1879 on that one. There's no point just going into the details because it's just reiterating, and I would suggest if you want to look at this properly, go to Archaix channel. Now, I left a comment for Jason about this, and I would say, and I don't know the answer to this, only he knows the answer to this. He must have said to himself at some point before going into prison, what is my purpose for being here? What am I supposed to be doing? The universe gave him that answer. Now, on one perspective, you can say how terrible he went in prison. I'm not going to judge, and I don't know why he went in prison. That's irrelevant. But now flip it round to the other side, what it's taken away and what it has allowed him to do. It has given him the isolation in which he could access the entire US prison library and look at old books. He has not had to worry about things he has to concern himself with now, which is making a living, eating, feeding the avatar, as it were. It gave him the time to sit down and do the research. He found his purpose and he's now sharing that information, and absolutely brilliant. But he would not have had that opportunity had he not have gone through that experience. It's always a case of be careful what you wish for. The universe may not give it to you in a way that you can always see as being good. The things that happen in your life, the things you might say are bad events, they're not bad. They happen at a specific time for a reason. They're chapters in a book which you can then draw upon. For example, anxiety, depression and panic attacks, night sweats, ringing in the ears and things like that, which is happening right now. I had it earlier as well when I was talking about to Angela with backwards and forwards with voice messages about how I was interpreting what I was seeing in that painting, and it just sort of comes through. Already I'm losing things here. There's nothing in this realm basically that isn't based on something spiritual. So take, for example, memories, access to memories. Is basically what the Google Cloud does. These devices, these mobile phones, if you hand it over to somebody else or sell it on to somebody else, what do you do with it? You restore factory settings. The thing still works, and it comes with the basic functions. And then the individual can then add their own photographs or phone book or whatever to it and make it their own. That's basically what these physical vessels are. You're in a diagnostic realm, basically. So these isometrics and everything are played out here. If I was to explain to you how to drive a car, for example, we use that as an analogy, how to apply pressure to the middle pedal, which is hopefully the brake pedal, how to bring the car under control, how to stop it, and so on. It's a concept, but how are you going to be able to experience it without going through it? So what is this realm all about? It is about contrasts of what will be called good and evil. It's a Pandora's box. It's a diagnostic realm. So when it's talked about man sort of seeing nature as a challenge and going against nature, it is by design. So you could also see this realm as like an incubator, an incubus, an incube-us. We're in a cube, basically, a diagnostic cube, a Pandora's box. Now, if you have come from another realm where there is perfection, so you're saying, what is this good and evil? I want to experience this. Well, that's why you're here. To go through these experiences. Now, a lot of you are saying, why won't they wake up? Well, I can assure you, and to use Theoria Apophasis analogy about the radio signal and the broadcast, you can say it to them, but they're looking at that tree from one fixed perspective. They don't have the fluidity of thought. So, no, you can say it to them and they won't hear it because they're on a different frequency, a different wavelength, and ouch, the ringing has gone intense in my ears. It's almost painful, but it isn't painful at the same time. I think those that experience it will get what I mean. It's gone up in intensity again. Some of you are saying it's Wi-Fi. I would tend to say I can't say it's there all the time, because if it stays constant, I don't know. But when it changes pitch like it is doing now, I'm very aware of it. So I don't know if it's Wi-Fi. I'd say it's more this universal consciousness, this matrix, whatever label you want to apply to it, and that's what it is. It's nothing to fear, because fear feeds fear. Do you want to grow and cultivate a garden of fear, or do you want to cultivate a garden of life? And that's obviously in a metaphorical sense, not in a physical sense that I'm using here. So yes, I think we've covered everything there. We're up to 23 minutes, that's plenty. So yeah, the best advice I can give is keep fluidity of thought. Go with inner feeling, go with your gut feeling. That is your best guide, not anything external. Yes, do listen, weigh things up from what you see and hear, observe. Be like the sun, keep going round and round and see things from all viewpoints, see that tree from all sides. So the me key shall inherit it. So when Jason Archaix talks about 2040 and the Phoenix phenomenon, well, find the me key and which path you take, whether you want to take the fear path or whether you want to take, shall we say, a higher path and life lives life. It is nothing to fear. You'll get through it because it, as he says, it is of an intelligent design. It is expressed as weighing of the heart, weighing things up. Look at the symbol for Libra. It's I think a woman holding a set of scales, and it's blindfolded. It is done from feeling. How you feel about things is what you will impress upon these avatars, And that, of course, is also magnetics, because what you feel will then attract towards you. So if you are feeling fear, what do you think you are going to draw towards yourself? That's simple, really, and yet it seems so hard, but it's all experience. Who am I to judge what is good and what is bad? They're just perspectives. Right, we've talked plenty long enough. It's longer than the first video, so I'm going to stop there, and I'm going to say love to you all, and hopefully that has clarified, given you new perspectives maybe to look on things. And do check all these channels out: Theoria Apophasis, Archaix, Adrienne Elise for astrology, My Path as a Pagan. I'm going to give a shout out to Root's channel. I'm going to give out a shout out to Rudy and the Dog's channel. Just look at what he's put out today. Absolutely brilliant. An example of what this realm can do and does do on the sort of more negative polarity. But it doesn't have to happen to you unless you want to feel that is going to happen. And it probably will. But you have free will. So choose wisely. Weigh everything up. Keep that fluidity of thought. And draw your own conclusions about what you feel about things. Love to you all, and ta-ta for now.